Well, Chris Bowen's green dream is tearing through more prime agricultural land for something different, this time in Victoria, where the state government has just approved what will become one of Australia's largest solar farms in the King River catchment south of Wangaratta. It's so bad, eminent planning expert Michael Buxton has described the proposed $750 million project as the autocratic imposition of a project without any regard for the principles of liberal democracy. Joining us now is Environment Editor at The Australian, Graham Lloyd. Graham, nice to catch up. Thanks for joining us. Look, 500 objections to this project have been submitted, but locals are powerless because of Victorian laws which fast-track renewables projects. That's the issue here.
Yes, good evening, Danigo. Well, get used to it. I think you're seeing as the urgency becomes more acute to roll out these renewable energy projects to replace coal, all the protections and laws that were there to give people a fair say are being stripped away. Victoria was never particularly generous in the way it considered complaints. The last vestige of having a say was stripped away, I think, last year. Now there's complete control from the minister to roll these things out. And we're seeing this at a federal level as well with changes to the EPBC. A large part of it is to give the minister the power to override any objections to the deployment of transmission lines, wind and solar projects and other things.
Graham, I want to ask you about a Victorian Labor MP who's boasting about the amazing results of his state's renewables transformation. Tim Richardson is the MP. Let me read for you his tweet. Victoria has delivered 42.4% of electricity generated from renewable energy sources in 2024-25. Now he goes on to say it means lower power bills, energy security and action on climate change. Is this guy living in a parallel universe? The Labor government's action on climate change has done nothing to change the climate. I'm not sure how making electricity reliant on the weather helps energy security. And I'm pretty sure most Victorians aren't experiencing lower power bills. What planet is he on?
Well, he uses a sleight of hand to make two untruths. The sleight of hand is that there may be a total contribution for renewables to the power production, but the issue is, when does that power arrive? There were large parts of Victoria in 2024 when there was a wind drought and the windmills were producing hardly anything for an extended period of time, and that is resulting in power bills staying high. And certainly we might be taking action on climate change, but we're not having any impact on climate change. They're two quite different things.
Yeah, I wonder if Chris Bowen knows that. I doubt that he does on the crusade that he's on. Now, look, the incoming president of the Nationals Farmers Federation is warning that food production is being threatened by a lack of domestic supply of fertiliser, fuel and farm chemicals, as well as energy infrastructure and carbon schemes that are, of course, just eating up farmland. Hamish McIntyre has told The Australian a number of major issues need urgent addressing if the nation is to meet and build on a target of $100 billion in agricultural production. Graham, I mean, it is the farmers, as we know, who are suffering the most from this renewables rollout, but this is a pretty dire warning now.
Yes, it certainly is, and I think it's fair to say that the Farmers Federation for a long period of time wanted to play nice on the renewable energy and tackling climate change, and they quickly found that they were in the frame for methane emissions from cattle, and then there would be no end to the demands to reduce emissions from agricultural pursuit. What this warning is, it really lifts the urgency up considerably, because it says the inputs into farming in terms of fertilisers and other chemical inputs rely on the fossil fuel industry. They are carbon intensive, and we're seeing the price of those increase and the availability of those become more scarce. This is a threat to production, and when you put that on top of the quarantining of arable land for renewable projects and the social dislocation from transmission lines and other things, farmers have woken up and said, well, hang on a second, this is not what we signed up for.